What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at a budget case. And this case is from DIYPC, and the case is the ARGB-Q01W. And as in true DIYPC, every budget case I got from them, they have this B Gamer symbol on it. Now, I've gotten quite a few of these cases. Not this particular case, but a few cases from this company, and they're pretty cheap. This was on a October sale that Newegg was having, so I think I got this for around 53 bucks ish. And I seen it went up to 56 bucks, and now it's 62 bucks, so it must be getting popular. So if you want it, I would highly suggest going to Newegg and trying to get your hands on it pretty quick. Now, this is another 011 Dynamic, like mini clone. I've looked all over YouTube for some reviews of this case, and most of the ones that you'll find are on the Q03W, I think it is. And really, the only difference that I can find between them two cases is I think the 03 is just a little longer. This one's shorter, and the 03 has a center bar where on this one the two glass panes just meet together, and there's no center bar at all. So you kind of get that fish tank style, completely like panoramic view of the inside of your case. You don't have a strip there down the center. We're gonna get this out of the box, and I'll show you what I mean, at least from the pictures. So I think that's about the only difference. Is it comes with 3 ARGB Molex case fans. I'll probably get rid of them, but today I'm just gonna unbox it and we'll go over some of the things. Okay, we got the DIYPC ARGB Q01W. This is the 011 Dynamic style clone. It's more the mini version of it. It's actually it'll fit micro and ITX boards. I don't think I'd go micro ATX and ITX boards. I don't think I would go. I don't think you can go any bigger on that. And what you get in the box is basically the case. It did come very well packaged, and I have to say, the quality of this compared to a lot of the other DIYPC cases I get, it seems to be a lot better. It's definitely not like Lee & Lee or any, it's not up to that snuff of quality, but it's fairly good for the price. And basically you get, this is how the case comes. You have your tempered glass on the front, tempered glass on the side, and you get a little instruction manual. So what you get with this case, and one thing, but I can't really say much because my PC case, the Corsair 210 airflow case, it even has the little 4 standoff screws. My daughter's case I bought her was a Montech, like last year. It was about the same price as this, and it's a micro ATX case, but it actually has a door panel. It has a hinge on it with a magnet. I mean, that's way better, but I understand with this design, especially with the glass up against the glass like this, that'd be tough for them to do. So I'm sure this is where they save money and they cut a little cost. You do have these 4 standoff screws. They do have little rubber seals on them so to not scratch up the glass. But you have to take these 4 screws out, little standoffs, and that's how you get your side glass off. It is white on all sides except for the front. I'm just going to lay this off to the side for now. So what I was saying about this case versus some of the other cases, and if you watch Zach ZTT's channel, I know they talk about this case. But the case that they're using is that it's the ARGB-Q03, I believe, or Q003. This case is a little different. Is once you take its front panel off here, and this just pops off. This is actually a pretty good design here. I actually like this. It just has these recessed little nubs, and then they just fit nicely into these little clips here, and you can take your front panel off. Now once you take your front panel off on this case, you have, and this is sturdy. This is actually really sturdy. I'm surprised for a cheap budget case. Now the cases that they review, and it seems like on Newegg, the one that's the most popular, it does have a little white bar here, and the white trim actually comes around the front and the sides of the front and side glass panel. So this is obstructed. Now with this case, it's just, you get a full panoramic shot, nothing in the way of your case. This case is actually a little cheaper. Now one thing, that the case that they review looks the same otherwise, and there's a little bit of difference, but the one thing is, theirs had a dust panel on the bottom, a dust cover. This one doesn't have a dust shield on the bottom, and I don't think it was meant to, because theirs, in their videos, you could see it had the little clips where the dust panel would slide in. This one just has a dust panel on the top, but what I did notice is if you would have if you could get another one of these dust panels, these magnetic ones, this actually is cut out and indented right there. And it would actually fit one of these on the bottom too. So that'd be cool if I could find another one of these. Because I do think I want to intake air from the bottom of this case. And I don't know, I have another, this is the dust panel off of my Corsair case. Let's see if it fits. Actually, that would work. But I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to see if it fit. But so here's what you do have: 4 rubber feet on the bottom. It does have room for it says two 120mm fans on the top, and on the bottom 2 120mm fans on the side, and an exhaust on the rear 120mm. You do have some standoffs pre-installed, and if you look on the website, and we're going to test this out live right here. So if you look on Newegg, or you even look on the little instruction manual that comes, it says 2 120mm fans on top. But I think you could actually get 2 140s on here. I think, with the cutouts the way they are. And I have a couple 140s here, so we're just going to check and see. I'm not going to get too fancy into this. This is a 140mm ARGB, and I just want to see. Yep. So it does have the extra cutouts where you could actually get 2 140s on there. I'd put 2 140s on there if it was me on the top, because the 120s are a little small, and you're going to get to where they're going to be spaced pretty far apart. But if I think if you put 2 140s on there, it's going to fit just perfect, and it'll take up the whole space. That's just my opinion. I mean, now there's definitely not room on the bottom for 140s. It's strictly 120s. The sides doesn't have any extra cutouts, so that's strictly 120s. And the rear is the same thing. So the top, you can put 2 140s on, at least in this case. The case came actually pretty not scratched up. I'm surprised UPS did actually a good job of shipping this thing. So, and I got it next day. So, and another thing, I've seen in most of the reviews on the ARGB-003W, I know a lot of the complaints is they shipped the case without the top punch out cover. And most micro ATX boards, your GPU sits up here. So your GPU is going to take these bottom two punch outs. So you have to punch these out, but the only problem is these are the punch out style. They're not the removable ones. So I don't know if it's constructive criticism or, you know, they've seen reviews, or if this could be just something that's different with the 001 versus the 003. But I think I've seen in Zach's videos and some other reviews on this case that they didn't get. So you get a little bag with a couple extra standouts, motherboard screws, and some other screws. But at least with my case, they did send the extra white cover. So if your GPU winds up not fit, you know, not going in that spot, they did send the white cover, at least with my case. All the other reviews I've seen, which, like I said, I haven't seen any on this particular case. It's only been the 003 version of this case. This one does come with the extra cover. But I think, like Zach said in his video, if you just keep a couple extras around. I know my Corsair cases come with a couple extras. Now this ain't white, it's black. But the Corsair one's white, but you could just use that, honestly. But I don't have to, because they actually sent one with the case. So that's, I'm hoping that they've seen Nerd on a Budget or Zach's video and they decided to start including them. Or maybe they're just going to send them with the 001 version. Now, me personally, I like the 001 version better because I like that panoramic view. You're not going to have any obstructions here. So you're going to get that whole kind of panoramic view of the inside of your case. That's actually pretty cool. And for this case, it only cost 53 bucks. I think it's a pretty good deal. We'll take the side panel off. You got these little standoff screws here. Back panel just slides off. Now, I've had a lot of DIYPC cases, and normally this is as flimsy as a piece of metal as you can get. And while this definitely probably isn't up to quality with, you know, like I said, Lee & Lee or any of them other cases, Corsair, this is miles better than what you get with a lot of their other cases, especially in this price range. Now, the one thing I wish they would have put is a dust filter, because they have the fan sec to exhaust, but if you want an intake through the side, all you have is this mesh that's built into the case. There's no filter. So I can see this being a dusty case, unless you could probably just, I mean, you could probably just get, it's an easy fix for what you pay for this case. I'm sure I could come up with something. Magnets and finding some of this stuff's probably not that hard, which I'll probably try to do that because I want some on the bottom too. Because I'm going to use an AIO in this case, and I'm not real sure how I want to set it up yet. I'm thinking that I want to exhaust, and I want to put the radiator out here, but the fans on the other side of this bracket, because you don't have much room. And I did see this in another video on the inside here, where your pass-throughs are. If you put a radiator and have the 0.95 millimeter fans on them, you don't get slim fans, it pretty much covers all this. But what you could do is you could mount your you got plenty of room here. I've measured it. My radiator will fit there perfect. You could put the radiator back here and then put the fans on it through here, and then you got plenty of room for the pass-through. So that would work. If you want to side mount your AIO, you could top mount it, and there's room down here to actually bottom mount it if you wanted. If you had a, you know, I wouldn't advise that unless you had an AIO that, you know, had a pump in the radiator or had a pump on the lines, you know. But if you didn't have any other choice, you could do that. Another thing I wish that they had just some rubber grommets, or grommets, however you say it, on these pass-throughs would make it look a little more professional. But I paid $53 for this case, and it's pretty high quality for what it is, so I can't really knock it too much. These fans are terrible, I'm sure. They're 120 millimeter, and I can't find anywhere a brand for them. I have no idea what the RPMs are. They run full speed all the time. They are ARGB, but they run off this Molex connector. So they're just, Molex run 100% all the time. And the one fan, I believe, has a little ARGB controller in it. And it actually has a wire that comes off and hooks into your reset switch. And then you can cycle through everything on the reset switch. Now they do have regular, like the 5-volt, 3-pin ARGB connectors on them, where you could actually control them from your motherboard if you did have a motherboard that had the headers on it, and you wouldn't need to use this. But I'm going to plug them in here in a little bit, and we'll take a look at what they look like. I mean, they seem like the quality's fairly decent on them. They're not cheap plastic or anything. And I don't know how much air they move yet, but we'll see. That's coming up later in the video. So on top, you do have this is sparse. I would like to have seen a USB-C up here or something, but you do get a power button. You have a power LEDs, reset switch, which in this case is wired up to the fans. You do get 2 USB 2.0s and 1 USB 3.0, and a mic and headphone jack up here. You do have room for a full size, but I wouldn't want to get a real long ATX power supply, a short one. And just for reference here, this is a pretty big one. This is a EVGA 6, so I'm going to see how that fits in there, just so you guys can kind of take a look. You see how much room that takes up. And this doesn't have modular cables, so that makes it even worse. But so this is your EVGA here, if you're going to use that. So there you go. That's a pretty big power supply, in my honest opinion. But you still have a little bit of room. If you're going to put a radiator back here, probably not as much. But I'd say if I was building this case, and I am going to be using, I have a Corsair 750 modular, and it's a little shorter than that. So I'm hoping it'll fit a little better. Now this is another thing that's different that I noticed from the 03 to the 01. The 03 has a double cage here for a 3.5 or a 2.5 SSD tray, and has 2 screws right there. The 03 has, this is bigger. So this actually gives you a little bit more room for cable management. So instead of the hard drive bay being so big, it's a little smaller, but it only fit 1 drive. So either 1 3.5. And I think, honestly, if you wanted to make it fit, you could mount a 3.5 in here, and then just put the screws through the back and mount a 2.5, or mount it this way. You could get 2 on there if you're creative. Just use sticky sided tape or magnet tape. It would work. Or if you don't, if you like, my motherboard has 2 M.2s. So I'm just going to take this out. There's 2 screws right there, and you can pull that whole tray out, and it just gives you that much more space for cable management and everything else. So that's what I would do. I hope I've given you guys a pretty good look at this case. Like I said, you know, it's a steal for the price, especially for 53 bucks. Now they have this in pink and like a blue color. And when I say blue, I'm talking like a green blue, like an aqua green, aqua blue color, and black and white. And I think they have the 003 in the same colors. The 003 is a little bit more expensive. It just seems like they fluctuate back and forth between each other. But this one just happened to be the cheap one at the time, so it's the one that I wanted to pick up. Besides, I like it better having the corner open. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a power connector on to these Molex fans and cycle through what they would look like if you actually use these fans and didn't have them set up to a header. Because I'm probably not gonna use them, but you guys might want to see what they look like. So I'm gonna pause the video. When we come back, I'm gonna have the fans going. Okay guys, excuse my mess here, but so I just have a jumper on the EVGA and the Molex plugged in, and I'm not really sure what the RPM of these fans are, but it's not very much, I can tell you that. If I had a little piece of paper here, I mean, we can kind of it barely moves the paper, and like I said, they under full Molex, they're gonna run like that, full speed. And this is kind of the ARGB here. This is what you can expect. Like I said, it's nothing to write home about, and more than likely, if you're buying this case, you probably already have. I have so many fans laying around here, it's not even funny. You probably got your own fans that you're going to use. I would highly suggest that. If it's your first time build and you're not building a very, you know, if you're just building a little gaming PC, you know, with a Ryzen 5 or something, or like an i3 or something that doesn't have a high TDP, these fans might be fine. They're not very fast at all. But now the two videos that I referenced earlier, like Nerd on a Budget and Zach's videos, they both said the same thing about these RGBs. The controllers in this back fan, it's actually built into the PCB on this back fan. Now I don't know if you hook this into your motherboard if it's different, but at least how they are stock. And I haven't tried it yet, we're gonna find out. But from the videos I've seen, basically when you hit this reset button, it'll cycle through. But after a few seconds, it's gonna go back to that original rainbow color. Now it's gonna make a liar out of me. You watch. They might have fixed it. Because if you watch those videos, you'll see that both of those guys complained about that. It doesn't stick, there's no memory. There's breathing. I don't know. On both of their videos, it was only about 10 seconds that this is actually working. That's weird. Hey, maybe they fixed the fans. It seems like it's staying on the pattern that it's supposed to. It's not switching back. So, kudos there. That's another fix. There's all red. This was one that was real easy to see. Now this cycles through all the colors, but it's not going back to that rainbow color. So that's a good thing. It's actually staying on. Now this is a cheap controller built into one fan. I want to see what happens if I shut it off, turn it back on, if it remembers its pattern. So we're going to do that. We're going to kill everything. I'm going to count to 5. We'll fire it back up. Nope. So it's always going to I call this unicorn puke, rainbow wave, whatever you want to call it. That's going to be the default. But as far as my fans go, it looks like mine does stick to whatever pattern you set it to. I'm not sure how many patterns there are. I'll sit here and go through a few of them. I don't think there's any solid colors. Just red. But that's the one that it cycles through red, blue, and green. I don't think there's a static. Well, there's static red. Let's see if it changes. Yeah, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to switch. But I don't think that's a problem with the controller. I just think it doesn't. It's just the settings it has. So no static colors, not with this controller. You get rainbow puke. This I call this a pinwheel, or it's actually not too bad looking there. So you're not going to get any static colors, but you do get some pretty cool effects if you want to use these fans. But mine doesn't cycle back to the rainbow puke like theirs was. So yeah, 53 bucks. You can't beat it. I think it's a great case. If you don't want to spend all the money for an 011 Dynamic and you still want this fish tank style case, I don't think you can beat it. I would head on over to Newegg real quick, because the more popular these cases get, I can only see them starting to reach $70, $80 range. And at that point, I just don't think the value's there. But in the $50 price range, under $60, this is great. It's a great case. I don't know about these fans. Time will tell. I might actually just throw the 56. I got a Ryzen 5 5600 here with a stock cooler and old ASRock 370 motherboard. I might just throw a quick build together in this just to see how these fans do set up this way. Nothing that's, that's like a 65 watt TDP processor, and it'd be a good budget. I think I have a 6400 AMD GPU, so that's another low power card that doesn't generate a lot of heat. I might throw a quick build in there and just check some thermals with these stock fans and see how they go. If I can get my hands on, I know they make an infrared tool where I can put a piece of tape on one of the fans, and then I can actually record what the RPMs are. I'll get that information for you guys later. I have one of those at work, so it's just getting my hands on it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. So that's all I got for now. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer them the best I can. And I hope you like the case, and everybody have a good day.